Blockbuster trades don't happen too often in the NFL. They're starting to happen more, but it's certainly more of a Madden thing than a real life thing. But let's live in that hypothetical world for this video, because blockbuster trades are fun, and I wanted to come up with some hypothetical blockbuster trades that, in my opinion, would make sense from both sides' perspective. Teams are always going to be wary of making a blockbuster trade, but listen, the Rams have made blockbuster trades that allowed them to win the Super Bowl, so maybe we'll see more teams do it. So this is my list of 7 crazy hypothetical blockbuster trades that I think would make sense. Number 1, we're starting off with a bang with this is going to be one that's going to definitely be a bit of a surprise. So here's how it works. The Vikings are going to get Jimmy Garoppolo, Trey Lance, and a 2024 first from the 49ers in exchange for Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson. This is the 49ers giving up on Trey Lance after 1 year, which is, typically not something you would just openly try to do yourself. You're not going out and trying to make that happen. But the reason why it would make sense is, if the 49ers add Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson, they're immediate, maybe Super Bowl favorites. They have a great chance to win a Super Bowl in this scenario. And so in the short term, it's absolutely a fantastic move. From the Vikings' perspective, you get a first-round pick, so the Justin Jefferson loss doesn't hurt quite as much, and you're getting Trey Lance. And kind of the mindset here with the Vikings is it allows you to really kind of get out of this mediocrity you've been stuck in since you gave Kirk Cousins that contract. You can, the way the money works, you're going to have to pay Kirk Cousins a little bit right away, and probably what they'll have to do is cut Jimmy Garoppolo in this case, but maybe they can try to re-sign him, so they're not really getting much with Jimmy Garoppolo. But what you're getting here is you won't have a bunch of money this year, but then you're getting a lot more money in future years. You're clearing that cap space up, and you're getting Trey Lance, someone who was a third overall pick just last year. So there's plenty to like about Trey Lance, even if apparently the 49ers didn't love him in his first year as a backup. Again, who knows how true that is, and who knows how much there is there. And even if Trey Lance sucks, well, then you can rebuild and you have an extra first-round pick to do it. So either you have a chance to get a great quarterback, or you'll suck and you'll get a draft pick, which then you'll have a chance to get a great quarterback. So there's kind of it gets you out of that mediocrity you've been stuck in. And for the 49ers, they're going all in now to try to win a Super Bowl. My next crazy hypothetical isn't quite that dramatic. Again, that one was, I think, a little bit more fun. But this one is, I think, also something that's really fun and would make sense, I think. I could see it happening, actually. It's another Rams getting rid of a first-round pick scenario. They're getting rid of their 2024 first. Both the Rams and the 49ers had to give away that one because they don't have a first-round pick next year. But they're getting Cameron Hayward back. And the way that this works is the Steelers would have to pay $4 million of Hayward's contract next year. But really, imagine Cameron Hayward next to Aaron Donald. That's just absurd. That would just be the best interior defensive line of all time if that happened. You're just not going to be able to run the ball against them. And for a team that likes to, play with a light box, this can help them out with that. This means you don't have to, bring a safety down. You can play with a light box if you want to. The Steelers, yes, you're getting rid of a good player, but he's 33, so not going to be great for forever. You're getting value back now, and the reality is I think the Steelers should be looking at a rebuild, in my opinion, at this point. You have a new quarterback, probably not going to be too competitive. You're in, Pickett's first year at the very least, so get a first-round pick that can help you with this rebuild, because by the time, you're good again, you made the playoffs last year, but by the time you're really, championship level again, Hayward will probably be too old to be a part of that, so get rid of him now while he has value. That's how I view it. Next up, let's go for a 1-for-1 player swap. DK Metcalf for Rashawn Gary, because they're both kind of in similar spots. Metcalf, a great young wide receiver. Gary, a great young pass rusher. I just think that this is kind of one of those situations where both, the Seahawks, they kind of like these edge rushers. They prefer edge rushers who can stop the run. That's just sort of what they value a little bit more. Meanwhile, for Green Bay, they would certainly feel the loss of losing Gary. They don't want to move off of Gary, and if this trade were to happen, the Packers would probably just use draft picks instead of a player who's playing right now. But you're getting DK Metcalf, which you just need a number 1 wide receiver. You need a wide receiver in general, because there's a lot of maybes in that receiving room. It'd be great to have one sure thing. And, I think that would help them more than even the loss of Gary. Loss of Gary would hurt, but they have a good defense anyway. So I think that one would make some sense. Let's get crazy blockbusters here. Kyler Murray for Aaron Rodgers, 1-for-1. Why not? This is something that I think would be it would never happen in a million years, but I'm trying to think, would this be the smart move? You could make the argument. They're both getting paid similar amounts of money, so the contract swap isn't going to change too much. The clear difference is the Packers, I think, are a team that's ready to be competitive for a while. They're in the middle of their window, so getting a younger player, this could maximize that window. Instead of just having until Aaron Rodgers falls off a cliff, you now have until, Kyler Murray's whole career to do so, whereas for the Cardinals, you're maybe in a spot where you might not be ready to compete right away. So go after someone like Aaron Rodgers, who can put you over that hump and make you ready to compete right now. And you'll put him with DeAndre Hopkins, and you have a chance to win a Super Bowl. You're shortening the window, but maybe you're now in a championship window, whereas with Kyler Murray, you're probably not in the championship window. Does it make sense? Probably not. I think you could make an argument it doesn't make sense from either perspective, but I think that you could also make the argument it does make sense from either perspective. And again, hypothetical blockbuster trades. This one might be a bit of a stretch, but it would be very fun if it happened. Another one that would be a bit of a stretch, but very fun if it happens. What if? So the first thing is, I think if you have a star quarterback, you keep the star quarterback. I think Lamar Jackson is a star quarterback, so I would just keep him. But it seems like the Ravens are considering getting rid of him, and if they were to get rid of him, maybe this would be the move. It's a lot easier to build a roster around a great quarterback, and so the Falcons are going to give up A.J. Terrell, Kyle Pitts, and 3 first-round picks for Lamar Jackson, and I figured throw Gus Edwards in there as well because he's more valuable to the Falcons now than he would be to the Ravens without Lamar Jackson. So the Ravens need a quarterback now, but they have a loaded roster outside of quarterback, adding Terrell, Pitts, and getting 3 first-round picks. The Falcons are kind of in a weird spot right now where you won't have first-round picks to continue your rebuild, but you'll have the star quarterback, which is the most difficult part of that rebuild, is getting the quarterback. So as long as you believe Lamar Jackson is a star, this is probably the price you're going to have to pay to get him. And I still think they'd probably be coming out better because you'd have a quarterback who can legitimately play, and he's someone who, could potentially be good for the next decade and put you in championship contention for the next decade. Don't worry about the first few first-round picks because you can still build around him. And, there's talent on this Falcons roster. They need to fill it out, but maybe guys will want to play with Lamar Jackson. That's kind of how this stuff can work, and second-round picks are still valuable. So that's how I view that. Definitely a, tall price to pay but the way you're going to outbid other teams is by throwing in good, talented young players, and they have those. Another hypothetical, what if the Titans sold high on Derrick Henry, selling Derrick Henry to the Bills? The Bills give up a first and a second rounder for Derrick Henry. This is the big sell high kind of move of you have Derrick Henry coming off an injury, but when he's healthy, he's amazing. The Titans, maybe they say, you know what? We might be in a bit of a rebuild here. We were so good last year getting the 1 seed, but how much of that is sustainable? I don't know. We were good without Derrick Henry last year, so maybe let's sell high on him, get the draft capital back. And the Bills are saying, let's try to take advantage of this roster that we have right now. Get a star running back who we can now kind of fill up that running game. That's kind of one of their few holes. They drafted James Cook, but maybe this is a way to fill it up. I actually think that there's some logic behind this. I don't think the Titans would do it because I think that they feel like Derrick Henry is a crucial part of their team. But if you're of the belief that running backs are overrated, maybe make this move now, get rid of Henry, and the Bills are going to say, hey, we want to win a Super Bowl right now. We'll overpay for a chance to win a Super Bowl right now. And finally, the blockbuster to end all blockbusters here. Tom Brady going to the Miami Dolphins. The Buccaneers would get back Tua, Jalen Phillips, the first rounder from a year ago, who didn't have a great rookie year, but there's plenty of time, and 3 first-round picks on top of it. So the idea behind this is clear. You pretty much have 1 year of Tom Brady if you're the Buccaneers. Maybe they say, yeah, we have a chance to win a Super Bowl, but let's instead build for the future. Let's get rid of Tom Brady, and now we have 3 extra first-round picks. Tua, who has potential, might still be good, especially with the weapons Tampa Bay has, and Jalen Phillips, who's a good young pass rusher who could help them, because they could use a pass rusher. So you're getting a lot of talent back, and you're being competitive for a while. And for the Dolphins, they're simply saying, we get 1 year Tom Brady, we'll take that. We have a roster ready to compete right now. We don't know if Tua can win a championship. We know Brady can win 7. So let's just get Brady and let's go all in for this year. Obviously, Brady would have to sign off on this, I'm sure, because, of all that. But, to me, I feel like even as a Buccaneers fan, I feel like I still wouldn't take this deal just because you have a chance to win a Super Bowl. Just try to win a Super Bowl. Don't rebuild at this point. But you can see the logic behind it, especially if, I don't know, if it's week 6 and you're 3-3, maybe you say, yeah, let's make a move like this. There could be some value in stuff like that. I guess you couldn't really do that because, quarterback trades mid-season aren't going to go so well. But you get the idea. Again, hypothetical trades, they're fun. What do you think about these hypothetical trades? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.